The locals have also reported saying that the Israeli fans of this soccer club were ripping Palestinian flags up and were subjecting others to violence. And that's how it ended?
Yeah, that's the classic NPR report on stuff like this, where it's like, it's sort of like the way that British media does it, where it's like, okay, we technically presented all sides of this story.
Yeah. And I wanted you to I wanted your analysis and your commentary on this, because like I simply, with my Gentile mind, cannot comprehend what took place when I found out that, get this, ultra-nationalist football hooligans were being racist and then fought people in a, in your words, soccer-style battle.
Yeah, Euro style. Like, they say they're European all the time. Even in their accounting of events, they're like, okay, we might have like torn down the flag and made a chant about killing every child in Gaza.
Yeah.
But you're just supposed to let us do that.
Yeah, no. Israel has a right to defend itself, and so do ultra-nationalist Israeli soccer hooligans have a right to defend themselves in the exact same way that Israel defends itself, by just like wreaking havoc on any nation, really.
The day before, they like beat the shit out of a Moroccan cab driver.
Yeah.
Like, this one, I don't know. Like, you're seeing the usual things that you always see with this. Like, Sky News had a pretty even-handed appraisal of events, but they literally, just as I was getting out of the car, I saw that they deleted it and were like, this was not our, it doesn't meet our usual standards of impartiality.
Every time you and I, Marty is thanking you for watching our video yesterday. What is this? Oh yeah. Every time, that's a Dutch person from Amsterdam that was like talking.
Yeah, her video is good.
Where it was like breaking down the events that took place. Every time you're here, we end up arriving at the same conclusion, but like, it almost feels like Western media is trying to prime people to be anti-Semitic by being like, you don't understand. When it comes to anything that pertains to Israel, like, which is, by the way, representative of the monolithic Jewish understanding, is the way they present it. There's a different set of standards, and we are going to report in a way that you can like immediately recognize as inconsistent with reality.
Have you there's nothing else where a news organization has like a very produced segment where they send someone on the scene, and then like minutes later they're like, don't worry, we didn't get a call from anyone.
Yeah.
But we're just deleting that.
Yeah.
We're deleting it from the news because we decided it looks kind of bad. It's not. It's the wrong amount of impartiality.
This is nuts. After mysteriously deleting a package covering the Amsterdam protest, Sky News had put up a new version. The new version completely changes the thrust to emphasize that the violence was anti-Semitic. See the opening screenshot change below. Now, I made the mistake of listening to the NPR coverage on this morning's Up First, and it made me I audibly gasped. Like, I started yelling in my own house, no one else around. It just like, it felt like it just like shocked me to my core in a way that I thought was too much even for Western standards. Not only did they, of course, do the classic thing of like quoting the Dutch king, who said this is like Kristallnacht 2.0. This is literally the Holocaust. We have failed the Jewish community once again. But they also quoted local officials as saying this was an anti-Semitic attack. And in like the 7-minute reporting, the last 30 seconds of that was covered with actual like journalism, where they said, and the people on the ground, the locals have also reported saying that the Israeli fans of this soccer club were ripping Palestinian flags up and were subjecting others to violence. And that's how it ended?
Yeah, that's the classic NPR report on stuff like this, where it's like, it's sort of like the way that British media does it, where it's like, okay, we technically presented all sides of the story.
Yeah.
So you can't get mad at us.
Yeah.
That's the NPR specialty. People have like a very blinkered idea of NPR as like
Woke.
Yeah, like woke, like
liberal
state TV. And like they definitely, at least when I was like a kid, they would report on things that like other news organizations wouldn't report on, which I think had more to do with them being publicly funded than, you know, any political alignment. But that made people think like, oh, if you report on private prisons, that makes you like, you know, far left media in 2004, at least. But it's been sad to watch in the last like 10 years. They've made like a really conscious effort to like have more of like a center right tilt, which sucks. I mean, it was NPR for any Jewish child, or it could be any ethnicity, where your mom was always taking you to the allergy doctor. You fondly remember listening to that network. And now it's just like every other network in America.
First time watcher, lifetime hater. I think you're an egomaniacal narcissistic with a low IQ. Ban me, please, so I don't have to be reminded of your future existence. Thanks.
Nepo queer?
Yeah, I'm gay.
That's not how most
I'm
people...
gay coded. I unbanned him, by the way. I love this guy. He's going to have some more bangers, so we're just going to keep him in the chat, I think. No reason to ban a guy like that. Yeah, I have nepotism in the queer community.
Yep.
He's saying that my dad is gay, so I get queer brownie points.
Yeah, it's like joining like a really tough union.
Yeah.
Most people have to just wait until like a gay or poly spot opens up.
Yeah.
But you just, the second you could get your card, you joined up.
It's really fucked up. I know. There were a lot of people waiting for that representation, and I took a spot from a well-deserving queer person. But,
yeah, it's a plum position.
Yeah.
I just hope you're helping other people on their way up.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know the events that unfolded, I covered it extensively yesterday, and we do have a bunch of Tyler Hitler Vera videos that we got to watch. He's been going super balls to the wall, like openly white supremacist.
Do you think that he's going to
like more so than before somehow?
Do you think that he's going to... This event might be like too in the weeds for him. Do you think there was like a 30% chance he'll go to the Netherlands, right?
Maybe. I mean, not this one. No, I also don't know what his framework is. Like he's definitely all right, like anti-Muslim, anti-migrant, but I don't know if we're waiting to find out if he's like alt-light or alt-right, I guess.
Yeah.
Where it's like, but even then, even the alt-right is like now divided on Israel. Like they hate Jews, but then they also like love Israel. Like Richard Spencer straight up endorsed Kamala Harris. And you can't even say that about David Duke, because David Duke then endorsed a Jewish woman, the only Jewish person running for president. So none of these guys have standards anymore. Israel broke everything.
Like, I've always said, like, anti-Semitism in America, at least doing it in a European context, is like an uphill battle if you're anti-Semitic, because it's like, it's not quite like Japan, where there was like no cultural context for Jews, so it just never really caught on. The problem with it in America is that it kind of requires too much like reading.
Oh yeah,
it's like very Euro shit. It's like really, it's really difficult for Americans to get a grasp on.
Yeah, like American anti-Semitism, like the underlying anti-Semitism in America is like coworker shit. That's like sure, lots of Jews in the media, huh? That's like, like they're ambivalent to the position of like Jews controlling the media. Like they're like, Jews definitely control the media, but like I'm not entirely certain if it's good or bad, especially because like I've laughed at a lot of their content.
That's literally the only like anti-Semites in America I have ever run into have been like just guys like that. And it's not even that, like, they weren't saying like, oh, and you're controlling the media to make everyone jack off.
Yeah.
Like, that's a popular one now. Like, the Jews are behind all porn.
Oh, hell yeah.
But, like, that's only online. In the real world, Yeah, the only thing that I could really like put into that column was like extreme coworker opinions where it was like, oh, it was always put in this really stupid way, like, don't you guys own 9 out of 10 of the networks?
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
but like not really upset about it.
Yeah,
like,
no. They
were
like the
I
product.
like horrible bosses.
Yeah,
Don't get me
yeah.
wrong.
They like the product. They're like,
Yeah.
I laughed at Boss Baby. Like the Jews did a good one on that
Yeah.
one. Like that type of shit.
and he did, yeah.
No one is reading Culture of Critique and then and developing like their own version of scientific anti-Semitism.
Exactly. Yeah. It just like it's the same. It sort of reminds me of like in 2004 there was a type of like liberal weebism for like European politics because it like liberals during the Bush era used to love posting like question time in British Parliament.
Oh yeah,
They would post that and be like,
George W. Bush could never.
yeah, look how smart their politics are. They're so astute. And oh, when I listen to BBC, it's so much. Oh my God, it's like a different language compared to NBC. But like so many aspects, like I think that's sort of overblown, like how smart European politics supposedly are.
Yeah.
And everything is sort of like reverting to the same pile of shit everywhere. But there are a few like aspects to European politics that are informed by just, their political and media culture that are so different than America, which means like certain things that fly over there would not over here. And like anti-Semitism is one of them.
Yeah.
It's not to say that it's like a huge problem in Western Europe at all,
Like,
but there's at least like a cultural context for it.
Yeah, no. In America, like people will say that's not true, but like in America, you could not have like a Marie Le Pen.
No,
Like that's a figurehead who has like openly, one of the major parties in France now, the Nationalist Party, like her father was a straight up Nazi. Like not even like it's not like me being hyperbolic, like straightforward a Nazi who she has defended regularly and has, repeated a lot of these like Nazi statements. Now, when you compare it to how was he a Nazi? Marie Le Pen's father, how was he a Nazi? Do you know what Vichy France is? Like they were Nazi collaborators. Like he said it. Like it's like saying, like someone who actively collaborated and worked with Adolf Hitler is not like actually a Nazi.
Maybe they were just like industry friends.
Yeah. Yeah, Henry Ford.
Not
a real Nazi. Come on, how could he be that way?
I meant like Young Thug and Gunna now.
Yeah.
Where it's like we don't like each other, but we have a business relationship.
Yeah. The Front National was co-founded by Waffen SS.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is like, those European parties were like, by and large, all the far right parties were either, if they predate World War II, they were collaborationist parties, or if they're come after World War II, they were founded by collaborators.
No, I don't want to watch this one.
Incidents
I want to watch
of
the
racism
other one,
have
the
been
most racist
right.
football club in the world. Not Beitar Jerusalem. There's one specifically on the Maccabee one. I want that one.
It's so annoying. Look, I'm not speaking for you. Like, I don't want to get you in trouble. I hate it when us Jewish people, when we call stuff the Maccabees, because it's like you would make fun of a Greek guy if he's like, I'm 300, the Spartan. It's the same thing. It's the same. If there was an MMA fighter whose his nickname was 300. His name was Mike the 300 Hayes. And that's the same thing as
He's like, I'm the gay pedophile.
yeah.
What's up? I'm Mike, the gay pedophile.
It's such a it's just as stupid to be like, I remember one time Matt Christman got into an argument with a guy who was like, I'm a Bundist. And it's like, you're about 100 years too late there, pal.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Okay. So let's get to it. Massive pogrom occurred. We kind of briefly alluded to it, not with the severity that this story deserves, of course. However,
club Maccabi Tel Aviv arrived in Amsterdam ahead of their UEFA Europa League match against Amsterdam club on Thursday, just before the game.
Trump. Yes.
You're in Holland. You're in the fucking Netherlands.
He's in fucking Amsterdam as an Israeli supporter of the Maccabi Football Club, ripping a Trump flag, dude.
That's incredible.
Dude, international Heil Hitler solidarity.
It reminds me of how in Northern Ireland, they have one of their murals are like a settler colonial super league.
Yeah,
they'll have a mural where it's like the
wrong side of every conflict.
Yeah, they'll have a mural where it literally be like a Confederate soldier, a boar,
yeah, an Israeli flag,
like the Legion of Doom of bad guys.
There would be clashes. Later that evening during the match, Israeli supporters appeared to disrupt the minute silence for Valencia flood victims with chants.
I like that this is like objective news coverage.
Yeah, this is
like if you
all
don't
things that happened.
Yeah.
Whistles.
Somehow Sky News is more honest than New York Times. Yeah, just wait. So this was the original reporting on
and
the matter.
fireworks.
Like you can't. It's crazy how shameless you have to be to openly be like, yeah, we did a bunch of racist stuff and then they beat our fucking asses, dude.
Yeah.
Like don't admit that. Just hang your head in shame. You know what I mean? Like just leave quietly at that point.
I have to say, they also had Mossad agents.
Oh yeah, that's the other part.
They had Mossad agents in tow.
Bro, if you're a Mossad guy and you're getting your fucking ass beat by like a random 17-year-old Moroccan migrant living in Amsterdam, just, resign. There is nothing else you can do at that point. Resign.
Dude, I feel like any English like soccer firm, that's what they call like the groups of hooligans. If they had SAS backup, they at least would fight everyone to a fucking draw, right?
Yeah.
Like, what is even the point of Mossad?
Yeah, it's also reservists too. It's like IDF guys who are like on vacation and Mossad agents, and they're just getting their shit packed up.
I mean, we've kind of seen the fighting capacity of Golani Brigade. They love hanging out in windows.
It's just like, yeah, no, they're just demonstrably bad at any sort of like symmetrical conflict.
Yeah.
If it's not women and children, they're like, I don't know. There's not much I can do. I'm not trained on this.
They're gonna try to get like clearance for every time the Maccabees play abroad. They're gonna be like, you need to let us fly like 20 F-16s for close air support above our shitty soccer fans.
Yeah, that's what happened. They just didn't have air cover over Amsterdam.
Yeah.
Dude.
I never want to hear anything about Krav Maga ever again.
I also never want to hear anything about international rule-based order ever again, because the fact that like The Hague is right down the street and you didn't just like pack up half of these motherfuckers who are war criminals and then just like, prosecute them on the spot. Like what why do we have any laws at that point? Because if a similar situation was occurring where like a Russian neo-Nazi ultras, soccer hooligans were beating the shit out of like the Ukrainian neo-Nazi soccer hooligans, okay, in the streets of Amsterdam, like they immediately would be like, oh, you're like a former Russian soldier, okay, you're going to fucking jail. Like Hague is right there. It blows my mind. Like,
I mean, it's not just like that. They're clearly international war criminals, and like if they were like Serbs, they would absolutely be arrested. There is sort of like a culture of lawlessness as it applies to like Israeli tourists in general, even divorced from. I
banned that person who for the crime of ever bringing up a Polish proverb. That's what he look at what he said. A Jew will always tell you what happened to him, but never why. Polish proverb. Like, imagine. That's like
I think it took the entire fucking country to come up with that one.
Yeah, dude, I love that because it's like the lowest form of anti-Semitism is like repeating the Polish version of anti-Semitism.
Yeah. Oh my god. They tried to like do the Holocaust by like just dropping a cannonball on people from a ladder. Like, get out of here, pal.
Oh my god.
But
that was the Visegrad account.
yeah.
Yo, Visegrad's real active today, dude.
His friend who pushes the generator is working really hard.
It's gonna be really hard now because he has no idea how to make a new account.
Yeah.
He's like, this was the account that my father was using too.
He doesn't even get Poland's computer until next week.
Yeah, you're done. You're done, son.
But like the like culture of lawlessness with Israeli tourists, at least in like, you know, broadly like NATO affiliated states, like the broad West as we talk about it. This reminded me, people were posting about this too. Do you remember that horrible fucking case in Cyprus where these Israeli tourists, like 6 of them, like committed like they committed sexual assault against a Cypriot woman, and they were arrested, but Cypriot authorities like arrested her or detained her, didn't officially arrest her, but like detained her and like deprived her of sleep and like coerced her into recanting so the Israelis could go back home.
That's insane.
And of course, when the Israelis got back, they were welcomed as heroes. They were chanting.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember the story because like it was written. Of course, it was like written critically by Israeli media, where they were like, controversial reception for 12 gang rapist Israeli tourists or something.
Yeah,
like it was the craziest. It was the absolute fucking wait. What the fuck? Oh, this is the Harris campaign. Does anyone have the thing? Does anyone have the article? It was one of the most insane. Israelis accused of raping British tourists go to trial in Cyprus, but no, that's not it. It's like when they came back.
They like.
Oh yeah, here. Some in Israel uneasy with heroes welcomed for teens cleared of gang rape.
Heroes welcome. Like, Jesus fucking Christ. It's just like they, you know.
This is from this is from Times of Israel, for the record. Just understand that this is not like an anti-Semitic newspaper or some shit that is like making up this this story. This is from Times of Israel, Times of Israel's own reporting. In the arrivals hall, the teens, all wearing white yarmulkes, loudly celebrated their release by opening champagne bottles, chanting "Am Israel Chai," along with "The Brit is a whore." Don't say anything. Anyway, let's don't say anything that's gonna get me the ban, please.
No. There was another case of like an Israeli doing like a hit and run in America.
Oh, dude, the Kahanist?
Yeah.
Yes. No, not the Kahanist. Literally, Kahan's cousin.
Yeah. It's fucking crazy. Like
that happened this year, Chad.
Like in English, for the most, I can't just like kill someone and be like, our countries are friends.
Yeah.
You know, like if you're an English guy, you still like would probably go to jail for that. It's fucking crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like you can't look at that stuff and be like, oh, well, every country has a fucking lobby. It's like, this is a unique lobby.
Yeah. It's, it's the most important asset in the region, you know? So, whatever happens. That's it. Anyway, let's finish this and then
with
I'll show you
videos
the edited
showing
version.
some of the
Even when
violence.
those like Turkish cops beat up protesters.
Yeah, the Kurdish protesters, in DC.
Didn't the bodyguards get arrested at least? Like, obviously nothing really happened to them, but there was at least like the appearance of propriety.
Yeah. I don't remember what happened. They might have been considered a part of diplomatic immunity in that situation.
think, like,
but they were like directly the security detail.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
that it justifies it. But I guess the only other equivalent that I can see is like I don't know, immediate family members of like a Saudi the Saudi crown prince or whatever that like sexually assaults their fucking babysitter or some shit
That
in a
happened.
Beverly Hills mansion, and then they like chase him around and stuff, and then
that happens. Like George Nader is like that's a pretty blatant case of that, where he's not he was in the Mueller report.
What George Nader?
That George Nader.
Businessman sentenced for $3.5 million foreign conduit contribution
But
scheme.
he's done way worse than that. George Nader is, I think he's like Lebanese, but he has extensive contacts, both like in Lebanon and like
as an advisor to senior UAE government officials during the relevant period.
Yeah, he's super plugged in the Gulf, and he's sort of like has been a middleman for the U.S. State Department for like decades and decades. But he's also like an insane pedophile, like fucking insanely evil. Like when the Mueller people arrested him, they found tons of shit on his phone. He had previously been arrested for trafficking a 13-year-old.
Jesus Christ.
He keeps getting like slaps on the wrist or like just like completely let off and like not having to register as an SO because of how valuable he is.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you ever really want to depress yourself, just read George Nader's like personal history. It's fucking insane.
This is the type of shit that like that blows my mind, because there's like so many examples of it, including but not limited to that Virginia guy apparently.
Yeah.
But it's like, this is the type of shit that where people go like, oh, there's deep state pedophiles, like they're doing sex trafficking rings and shit. And it's like everyone talks about like Jeffrey Epstein, for example, obviously the most famous case of it. But, no such considerations are extended to people that are ideologically aligned with you, at least on paper. Republicans refuse to recognize that Kimball Musk stayed in Jeffrey Epstein's New York mansion. They don't give a fuck that, even Elon Musk had connections to Jeffrey Epstein. Democrats don't give a fuck that Bill Clinton was Jeffrey Epstein's best friend and was very shaken visibly after Jeffrey Epstein's untimely demise. So it's very frustrating that it's like American foreign policy is uniparty, but so is like, pedophilia and sex trafficking that's happening alongside the State Department.
No one, everyone, like both parties are incredibly fucking guilty of this on the highest levels. Like, Democrats have Ed Buck. They have like Jeffrey Epstein, even though like there are also a few Republicans, though I like on balance, probably more Democrats involved in that. But yeah, Republicans have George Nader. They had Lawrence A. King. They're just, everyone has endless amounts of these fucking creeps. The Nader case is just like, it's so rare that you get to see it all laid out for you in such stark terms.
Dennis Hastert for the Republicans, obviously. He's like, we say Diddy crash, but Dennis Hastert's like an Olympic level pedophile.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of crazy. He's the most prolific pedophile in Congress still, and also holds another record, longest running House Speaker.
Yeah. They're even like,
for the Republican Party.
There's also like, there are a ton of pedophiles, but there are also like a lot of like guys who have committed rape and just they're fine.
Yeah.
Who is that one Israeli ambassador to the UN? Do you remember who I'm talking about?
Well, not like Gilad Erdogan.
It was a
not
while
him.
ago.
He's my favorite.
Not
Gilad.
No, I'm gonna have to delete him from Spotify.
No.
Oh, no. Israeli ambassador.
Yeah, no, Dennis Hasan is not alleged. He was 100%.
No, he was guilty.
He was super guilty. As a matter of fact, the running theory is that they let him be the Speaker of the House specifically because they knew that about him, so then they could control him, basically. Yeah.
Hastert. Oh, this circles back. Hastert was a he was one of his biggest individual patrons was Jim Overwise, the evil dairy guy.
Jim, I don't know who that is.
Yeah, I was bringing him up as an example of how like someone can have bad politics but make great food. The Dairy King of Illinois, Jim Overwise.
Yeah, like the Chick-fil-A guys. Anyway, I still haven't been able to finish this fucking short ass goddamn Sky News video. Maybe that's why they re-edited it.
Say free Palestine and we go. Good.
Sky News
They threw him in the canals of Say Free Palestine and we go.
could not independently verify all of the footage shown. Police arrested
I don't feel fully bad for people who are like Hezbollists, but like a little when you see that clip and you have to pretend it's like not funny.
Yeah.
Like you lose something as a human.
Okay, but you know, people get mad at you. They're gonna be like, he's gonna be
62
killed.
people.
David Keyes.
5 were taken to hospital.
David Keyes was the Israeli diplomat who like had a lot of accusations against.
One day after Keyes posted his official tweets, Netanyahu's spokesman, anonymous complaint of sexual assault against Keyes was reported in Israeli media. The Jerusalem Post reported at the time that the complaint came from an anti-Israel activist who was denied entry into Israel in 2014, but he still had to resign.
This guy, he's sort of like
seems like maybe it wasn't an anti-Israel activist.
He's like an Elon Levy type.
Yeah, David Keyes was a disgrace to women for years. Who let him get away with it? Yeah.
Yeah, there were a lot of accusations.
So that's the short and sweet of it. They arrested 62 people. They made it illegal to fucking protest.
Since being discharged. Israeli far-right ultras are notorious for their racism and physical violence. Dutch, Israeli and British leaders denounced the attacks as anti-Semitic.
It is crazy
and even
how Netanyahu has the Hitler haircut now.
Yeah, I think it's got to be like a flex, right?
Yeah,
like he's like, come on, point it out. Yeah, point it out, bitch. He's gonna grow the mustache now. You're like, come on, point it out if you can.
I'm taking it back.
Yeah, this is my favorite mustache that I used to grow when I was a child in Philadelphia.
This is like when Kanye wore that jacket with the Confederate flag. This is the same thing.
I'm taking it back.
Referred to it as a pogrom. But their statements failed to mention the assaults by the Israeli
is like scathing, which is crazy because it's like objective news coverage.
Yeah,
which is shocking from Sky News.
hooligans against Dutch.
Shockingly anti-Semitic.
It's like what? It's insane because it's like you can't take any individual thing from there and be like that wasn't fair. Like it's all you could do is just like whole cloth call it like anti-Semitic, and that works.
Yeah, so basically, this was before what we know about anti-Semitic violence in Amsterdam. This is what they deleted and changed it to. Even the tweet accompanying the video has changed. It has explicitly shifted from mentioning anti-Arab slogans to removing the phrase anti-Arab and using anti-Semitism. Reuters had some choice words where they said anti-Israel slurs were used, whereas Israelis used anti-Arab slogans.
Oh my.
That was cool when they wrote it like that. Maccabi Tel Aviv fans tore down Palestinian flags and chanted racist anti-Arab slogans. The Israeli team supporters were attacked and fights took place in the streets. New tweet that came in after. Violence in Amsterdam. What we know so far. Police in Amsterdam arrested 62 people following violence in the city on Thursday night. The city's mayor, police force, UK Foreign Secretary David Lammy and others condemned anti-Semitic violence. What's funny is like the New York Times did basically the opposite of this, where they came in heavy-handed and hot. And then they were like trying to edit it to make it like more moderate, basically, where their starting position was like, Judaism as a religion is under attack across the board in Amsterdam, alive and well. It's crystal knocked. And then they were like, okay, maybe there was some racist stuff that happened on the other side too. My bad. So it's cool that everyone is like ultimately still moderating, but They have also inserted the video right after the opening footage of Dutch Prime Minister condemning anti-Semitism. That was not in the original video, or it came in the end of the original video. In the new video, they also added an impact narrative, Vox Pops, but only from a Maccabi fan, not an Amsterdam resident. In it, he says the attacks reminded him of October 7th.
Oh my God.
As if it couldn't get any worse, the original report ends with the reporter saying that while politicians had called it a pogrom, their statement failed to mention the assaults by Israeli hooligans against Dutch citizens. This bit was deleted. They deleted that bit. And and the re-edit of a previous video didn't meet Sky News' standards for balance and impartiality.
They compared it to October 7th. They compared it to Crystal Knocked. Like, I don't know. Why not just compare it to like Babylonian captivity too?
Yeah, it's just.
It's like, do you guys realize that people see this shit?
Oh, the editor's note has been deleted now as well.
Okay.
Well, good. Now there is no. Now,
Violence in Amsterdam.
No, I already watched it. I already watched the OG video. I watched the OG video.
Danny.
Israel evacuates citizens from Amsterdam after anti-Semitic attacks. Who else gets a fucking evac after their racist hooligans do racial riots on a foreign nation's soil?
You would think that England would do that. Because it's like, that's a paramilitary organization. But like, not just that, but like that it's new, like the president the president of the United States talks about it.
Yeah, no, it was incredible. It was incredible, dude. And it's always so coordinated. Like it's always like immediately like something just zapped in people's brains where they're like, oh my God, we have to immediately talk about this.
It makes me wonder if there are like, people who, they're in whatever like administration or whatever, who are like spent time in the lobby, if they're all have the same script basically, or if at this point it's just such an automatic reaction that it like seems like they're all going from the same script. I don't know, but like the result is the same no matter what.
It's wild to me that at a time when there is a major crisis surrounding like media credibility, that all mainstream outlets in unison will run this like objectively untrue framing in a way that like maybe they can get away with it in America because like Americans don't understand hooliganism.
Yeah.
Like they have no framework for it. Like, yeah, sure, like our football fans will do like racist shit every now and then, but like it's not as like serialized as and a guarantee in the way that it is in like soccer fandom. But even then, it's like so obvious that on social media, you could just like see exactly what happened. And if you only read the fucking newspaper, you're like, oh wow, like the world is really fucking on fire. Like the level of anti-Semitism is really tuned up. And in some respects, it has. That is real. Like there is a very real aspect of like Israel's actions being tied to Judaism cynically that pisses people off and negatively primes them against like Jewish people as a whole because they think like, oh, all Jews, like they're too stupid. They're like, they're not. Well, I can't even say that they're too stupid because like the fuck are they supposed to see when everyone, both on the anti-Semitic side and also on the fucking like pro-Israel side, are saying Israel is monolithic and all Jews care about is Israel. So like, of course, people who are uninitiated and haven't read into it that trust mainstream news resources are probably going to fucking look at that and go like, yeah, I guess this is just like some Jewish shit. You know what I mean? And that's how you fucking create more anti-Semitic shit, anti-Semitic tendencies.
Yeah. It is very interesting during the sort of like self-flagellation / reappraisal cycle that we've been seeing since, really this entire week that, like in the light of, probably when all is said and done, the Harris campaign shedding probably about like 10 to 15 million votes from the Biden 2020 totals. After, I would say the now signature policy of the Biden administration, the one that everyone will remember him for, and the event that everyone will remember,
The CHIPS Act,
the CHIPS Act, IRA. The signature thing this administration was about, the signature sort of story.
NATO, Ryan Ruth,
Finlandization.
The Finlandization of NATO, or the NATOization of Finland.
Yeah.
Sorry, I fucked it up.
But like it's Israel. It has been the main story. It is like the main thing the Biden administration has been about. it is probably like the greatest gulf between like public opinion and where either party is at policy wise and where the news media is at. There are all these reappraisals, like self-flagellations, and the same cycle over and over again. We're so stupid. How could we miss this? But on this, just business as usual. Like they will reappraise fucking everything. But this is the one thing where like you cannot deviate from the course whatsoever.
Yeah.
The thing is, like, you can be in the tank for Israel and still like not lie your ass off every time when there's a story like this.
Yeah,
like the UK media.
I don't know why they go so heavy-handed with it. That's what I like don't understand.
Yeah,
plenty of people are already primed to be like pro-Israel due to like almost a century of fucking propaganda where 76 years of just like positive news coverage. Israel's a startup nation. They made the desert bloom, all this shit, only democracy in the fucking Middle East, which is very racist to say, but
yeah.
Like there is no reason to ham it up further. It doesn't make sense. Like, but I guess like moments like this, like a little blip like this will really galvanize the supporters. And obviously it serves this fucking purpose. Where is it? Here is Avigdor Lieberman saying, I call upon the Jews of Europe not to procrastinate as it was on the eve of the Holocaust. Leave everything and immigrate to Israel. It's like, come on, dog. It's very fucking obvious what you're doing here. You know what I mean? Like it's so obvious. Like you're losing reservists by the fucking day. The vibes are fucked in Israel. The economy is fucked. It's on fire. And you're like, please, we need more people. Think about how anti-Semitic the Western world is. Please come here instead.
Yeah.
It's fucking pathetic.
And it like all this shit is like, whether it's like the New York Times doing it very like heavy-handed and then like kind of walking it back, or like Sky News doing it more sneakily. All of it is like, I mean, what do you call it except like a recruitment drive for Israeli citizenship?
Yeah.
Like just telling people you're not safe anywhere. Like,
why the fuck would you ever want to live in Israel if you're living in, like, I've said this before, the greatest threat to Israel is not like Iran, Lebanon, or fucking Hamas or whatever. It's literally Sherman Oaks, Boca Raton, and Brooklyn. That's it. That's the greatest threat to Israel's permanence, is that, like, if you're living in the United States of America and you have a happy life and this is like your entire experience, why the fuck would you go and live in Israel?
Yeah, it's also like, I mean, like now that like, people can actually land ballistic missiles inside the confines of Israel, it's not just that they're like, people are staying put instead of going to Israel. They're actively losing like kind of like their highest earning and most educated citizens. There is like a brutal brain drain going on right now. Part of that is because like they can no longer keep up the guarantee of like, hey, we're gonna beat up on the Gaza Strip every like couple of years, but that means it'll never come home to you. That they can no longer guarantee like, clear skies over Tel Aviv also. That's part of it. But also, like, it also just like sucks to live there for reasons besides that. Like, the economy is like weirdly fragile. There is pretty bad consumer inflation. And like, if you're like kind of an urbane, like liberal-ish person, not even like a left liberal or anything, but just like the type of like cosmopolitan person who would have like a well-paying job like anywhere in the world, right? That is living in Israel now is like living in the fucking villages.
No, it's too
like
much techno.
crazier.
It's too much psytrance, dude. There's no fucking way. No way, no shot, dude. I'm not. You can't make me. I'm not doing that. Okay.
It's like think about like being like a young person, someone who's like just starting out, like maybe you just like got out of you got a post-secondary degree. How fun would it be to live in that fucking place as a 24-year-old?
No, listen.
Well, I mean, besides this is very cool.
Go ahead. You wake up, you want to get your morning coffee at the fucking cafe down the street. This is blasting.
You get your plate of corn and your chocolate milk.
And then you take a photo of it and you say, this is the greatest Israeli breakfast I've ever had.
They want to kill us because this is so good. Okay, yeah. Okay, keep playing.
No.
Your friend texts you. It's a clip from Israel's #1 comedy show. 700,000 sketch they've done.
About gay woke college students with blue hair.
I am gay for Hamas.
I'm going to AntiSemitism University.
I go to gay college in America. I study in gay with a minor in condom. I'm gay for Hamas. And that is like being a cow for hamburger. It's not. You have not even been up for an hour, and this is how good your life is.
This is the most anti-Semitic thing I've ever done. Is just play this much psytrance. No,
Israel's not a monolith. A lot of people live there. People there also like clown step, which is my favorite genre of music.
Oh, here. Wait, what? Here's one of the hooligans. He's a techno DJ. No joke.
Oh, come on. When did every DJ decide that they're into like Hawaiian shirts now? That's like a big thing I've been noticing.
I just don't get, like, no marketing whatsoever for Israel. How did that happen? Like, it's just like, it's so, oh my God. It's Miami. It's shittier fucking Miami. It's Miami minus like Latino people, which makes Miami somewhat redeemable. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Miami with like less interesting looking stuff, like no like great restaurants, no jet skis.
Ay. Oh yeah, they're playing Beşiktaş, by the way, who has like one of the most notoriously violent hooligan cultures in Turkey. Where when I was growing up, they literally, I remember in the news like Beşiktaş fans like killing one another over not being sufficiently pro Beşiktaş. Like there was an argument once in a fucking game where they're called çarşı. It's also like the marketplace. It means marketplace, but it's also like the marketplace in Beşiktaş, the area. And I used to go there to get all my black market, my black market DVDs and video games, but like pirated, cracked copies. But yeah, they're supposed to play in Turkey. But apparently FIFA was like, nah, let's not do that. Let's go to a neutral territory. You know, they've already moved to a neutral country. We'll probably be behind closed doors. This is anti-Semitism. This is anti-Semitism, the highest variety. No, you don't understand. The Maccabi Tel Aviv fans have a right to go to Turkey and like do a reverse pogrom first. And then if anybody defends themselves against that, then that is the real anti-Semitic action.
It would like if like the same thing that happened like in Amsterdam happened to them there. You would see the greatest watermelon selling of all time by Erdogan.
No, that
such watermelons.
That would problem because he's under a little bit of criticism, under a little bit of controversy right now because like. You know how he did this whole like we're not giving Israel any more like shipments or whatever, and then he just basically continued doing it, but
of course,
but changed the destination to I think like the West Bank or something.
Yeah.
So they kept sending shipments into Israel, but like made it seem like they were sending it to fucking Palestine instead.
Is such amazing. He is the greatest watermelon seller of all time.
Oh my God, this is a huge move. Who does Eric Adams support in Beşiktaş versus Maccabi?
Oh my God. That's an amazing question.
Because Beşiktaş is the fan club that he was a part of in America. Yeah. And I don't know. He's gonna come out.
Such a good question.
He's gonna come out wearing like a hat that half Beşiktaş is like half Maccabi.
Yeah, he's gonna have a fez that has like a Star of David popping out.
It's like the Mets Yankees hat.
Yeah.
You know?
He's yarmulke no brim.
Yeah. This is this is fucked up.
Is
for
there an
Eric.
occupied Golan Heights soccer team that he could be a fan of?
Yeah. In any case, they did a medevac.
Turn
for all the
overseas
brave
now for the
soldiers.
latest on that horrific attack against Israeli soccer fans
Horrific
in Amsterdam.
attack.
The local mayor saying they were targeted because they are Jewish. NBC's Megan Fitzgerald is in Amsterdam with more on all this morning. Megan, what more do we know?
Well, guys, good morning to you. Look, we know that fans are back home in Israel following those emergency flights that took them from Amsterdam back home, following what officials are calling anti-Semitic events that we saw fill the streets here in Amsterdam over the last several days. It all came to a violent outburst Thursday night after a soccer match between Maccabi Tel Aviv and a local Dutch team. Video shows the moments Israeli fans were attacked as they poured into the streets of Amsterdam after the game. Fireworks being launched.
For the record, just want to point out that like one of the biggest one of the very like viral pieces of footage that every news outlet is using was filmed by this local reporter photographer, and turns out this Dutch journalist is demanding an apology and the removal of footage used by Bild, CNN, BBC World, Guardian, and New York Times in their reporting on the post-match clash between Maccabi Tel Aviv supporters and Amsterdam locals. She accuses them of misusing her footage and insists the truth be stated. Maccabi supporters attacked Amsterdam citizens in front of Central Station after the game. And what's crazy about it is that every single outlet presented it as like these immigrant Arabs that attacked Jews on the streets. So it was the exact fucking opposite of the reality that they were presenting. She says journalism is about finding the truth. It's time to show some respect to reality. That's your job. The only outlet she got an apology from was Tagesschau. And it's crazy. It's crazy that it's like they're just straight up fucking using footage of the Maccabi Tel Aviv fans beating the shit out of like random Dutch people, and everyone in the media is running as though it's the exact opposite.
It probably
People
is
on
like
scooters attacking fans who are running away.
Balance that like we don't really have like consensus reality anymore, and that like conservatives are kind of right about like how legacy media, as they put it, is like contracting. And yeah, like again, you in most cases you want there to be like an objectively shared sense of reality and like accounting of events. When I see stuff like this though, I do think like good. Like, okay, who gives a fuck that? Like all these places can go out of business for all I fucking care.
I just think about like the like long-standing consequences of just like having a complete collapse of legacy institutions that you know are supposed to offer somewhat of a critical perspective or at least like give you real-time coverage of events, and the fact that they're misusing the remaining shred, the veneer of like credibility to do this kind of straightforward, objective, nonsensical propaganda is very alarming.
It's the exact same way that I feel about like,
especially because independent media is dominated by fucking far right goons.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
well, no, this is the exact same way I feel about like this last election or like 2016 for that matter, where no one has ever so richly deserved to lose. It's just kind of a shame who they happen to lose to.
Yeah. And this probably like for the Jewish chatters in here, like your parents probably see this shit and lose their fucking minds over it too, because they're like, oh my God, it's the Holocaust happening again.
Most Jewish people over 50 are like very far gone at this point. Like it's rough out there.
Like
I've seen some horror stories.
They literally called me today about it. Like it's hard. It's hard. You got a hard task ahead of you to fucking try to explain to them exactly what's going on.
I mean, like honestly, it may unfortunately like be one of those things that you kind of have to wait out. The long and the short of it,
but do you like it doesn't go away? I mean, look at what like the Jeremy Corbyn effect in England. I think like made a lot of people more reactionary. Like there was polls conducted at the time saying like 80% of British Jews want to leave.
That was different though, because like Jeremy Corbyn, I would say the more important campaign against him was like not like the anti-Semitism thing was bad, and it gave him, it occupied him, his time and energy and the time and energy of his allies in like fighting their own party, and it was like a bullshit smear, obviously. But like the thing that was like
okay.
The thing that was like more electorally damaging to him was that they were able to portray him as like not British and like an enemy of like the English way. With this stuff in America, the reason that I say like you may have to just like live with it is like, frankly, there just aren't like that many Jewish people in America electorally. And just in terms of pure numbers, it would, like, if we're just talking about like Jews over 50, not massively electorally consequential.
By the way, Ajax is a Jewish team, isn't it? Like historically. Jewish Amsterdam resident here. I think most locals are angry that we are being represented as an anti-Semitic city, and everyone, like you said, is running the exact opposite narrative. Protests were banned this weekend. These people climbed onto properties and ripped out Palestinian flags.
Yeah.
They are not victims.
That would make me so fucking mad. That like basically every world leader in like the West is saying that you guys are just, the average fucking Dutchman is just a raving anti-Semite. That would drive me fucking crazy. Yeah. I went to the Netherlands.
It's sick. I love Amsterdam.
It's an amazing place. Yeah. The average family there is like, I felt like I was in Wolfenstein, not because of anything they did. They were very nice, but just because like the average 12-year-old is like 6'7".
Yeah.
I felt like I felt like the cockroach drawing a little bit. But I was treated fantastically. And I love, you guys have great museums. I am very upset on your behalf.
Yeah. My mom lives in Italy. She called me because she said if I was okay, she's over 50. But our pro-Palestine movement, which I'm a part of, is like stuck. We're all anti-Semites and get beat up. These people had the police escorting them for hours. Yeah, that's the other thing. Like, from what I understand, like cops are pretty fucking bad at like every major European city where you do any sort of like pro-Palestinian demonstration, you get your shit pushed in.
It's insane.
You
it's
get
fucking
beat up.
Insane. It really is like jackboot time all over Western Europe.
Yeah.
Amsterdam police chief says tensions were already running high before the game on Thursday. Social media footage shows Israeli fans menacing local businesses, attacking a local taxi, tearing down a Palestinian flag, chanting death to Arabs and let the IDF win.
Like, why are you saying Israel evacuates citizens from Amsterdam after anti-Semitic attacks if you're going to add what they did that led to people fighting? Like, why? How is that anti-Semitic at that point? Like, what is it? Like, is it impossible for someone who is Israeli to engage in like violent action and then receive retaliation? Like, that's anti-Semitic? Like, what are we doing? Like, what the fuck? I mean, I guess technically, yeah, it is, right? Any matter of like resistance against Israel's genocide is inherently anti-Semitic. Berlin, Jew here. It's fucking miserable. We have pro-Palestinian Kristallnacht commemoration and 6 police vans came to intimidate the crowd. Yeah, I mean, German police is a league of its own. Germany is completely insane. It's an entire country, I feel like, that is engaging in like collective psychosis. Crazy take. Can you elaborate? What do you mean crazy take? Can you elaborate? Soccer hooligans who are notoriously violent and reactionary, okay, of every variety. This is not special to Israel, for the record. And I said this yesterday, and I will repeat it again. It's not that unique. It's not unique to Israel at all to have a group of soccer hooligans engage in violent behavior, okay? Soccer hooligans doing soccer hooligan shit in a foreign nation and then getting beat up in a classic Euro-style soccer battle, okay? That happens weekly, mind you. Being presented as this like pogrom is insane to me. It's insane to me. The comparisons to Kristallnacht is insane to me. Anti-Semitism is anti-genocide. Can you elaborate? What do you mean? He missed your sarcasm about anti-Semitism? No, I said like resistance against Israel's genocide is considered anti-Semitic. I don't know if you knew this or not, but you know, I am the arch anti-Semite in the minds of many people who want to get me banned, despite me routinely fighting against anti-Semitism. As in the course of today, even I've covered this in my coverage of the story or other stories. As a matter of fact, I've actively been describing how anti-Zionism is separate from anti-Semitism and how Zionism is inherently anti-Semitic because it presents the actions of Israel and its demographic interests as its maintenance of an apartheid ethno-state as something that is inherent to all Jews, that all Jews are monolithic and they monolithically defend Israel. That is anti-Semitic. And that is precisely the reason why Nazis also say that. Anyway.
Of course, a reference to the more than year-long war in Gaza. Now, tensions from the war are certainly helping to fuel the attacks that we are seeing in the streets. Many Israelis that we've been speaking to here on the ground say that they have left them fearful. And of course, this is reminding them of the painful past of Jews in Europe on the anniversary weekend of Kristallnacht. Now, we have been seeing, global condemnation from leaders.
Dude, that is fucking... That's gross, man. That's fucking gross. That's gross. That's so fucking gross. What a disgusting, monstrous comparison. So fucking shameless. Holy shit.
All across the world, including President Biden, who has called these attacks despicable.
Yeah, like minimizing the Holocaust to defend a far-right, psychopathic, rabid football hooligan group doing hate crimes is an insane proposition. Nothing worse than what you've said. Please explain to me what I've said thus far that is as bad as this. And if you say that my comparisons of a 19-year-old in Yemen who has only known genocide, American-backed, Saudi-led genocide in his lifetime, being quite similar, but a unique experience to another person who has also experienced and written about their own personal experiences. Wasn't actually writing to you. Haha, forgot the reply. Okay, never mind.
Guys.
So disturbing in the timing there. Ugh. Megan, thank you.
I think our community is lost at this time.
Video today's show.
For Hasan Piker and Hasan Piker only. So if you're not Hasan Piker, stop watching. It is your duty to the American people, actually to the entire well-being of the world, to make a response to the Daily Wire. And when I say response, I mean build a company, build a media conglomerate that is in response to the Daily Wire, because that is the pipeline people are going on, and we need to put them on the opposite journey, okay? And we need to be reaching young people in such a way, and I do believe you are the only person at this point who can do this. So just like let me know if you need ideas or thoughts, but I just feel like this really needs to be done. So
this reminds me so much of 2017 when people would like a newspaper go out of business and people would be like, why aren't you guys buying it and running it?
Yeah.
And it's like, you don't want that. I feel like, to me,
I think people understand. We already have like a network of like-minded leftist like media outlets that are run independently, from myself to Chapo to DropSite, Intercept, Majority Report, Means TV, and many others, right? Like the way to operate a Daily Wire structure business is virtual democracy now as well. It's virtually impossible for like Zeteo, that's another great example, Jacobin. There's no way to do this in the same way that the Daily Wire does it, because they're completely funded and facilitated by like oil barons, who recognizes the importance of fucking constantly doing propaganda for the right.
There's no left liberal Robert Mercer,
Yeah.
I also I don't like this whole thing. I think it was Dave Weigel who said that liberals are always fighting the last war, which I think is very true. The time, I think there's very limited returns on this, but the time to have done it would have been 8 years ago. But I think just in general, the hyperfixation on parallel media structures and media figures is sort of also a case of limited left liberal imagination. What would be far more, you would get a lot more yield out of would not be like a liberal, Charlie Kirk. It would be a liberal, like Paul Weyrich or James Dobson. There are very few liberal institutions that are like specifically and specially geared towards winning elections, influencing legislators, enforcing message discipline, scaring elected officials.
Yeah.
Through either the withholding of votes or the organizational capacity of the organization. That they also have the double function of being able to like staff any potential administration with people who are ideologically on the same wavelength. Which is, if you look at the conservative movement, a lot of their success was making it so that like, even when Gerald Ford was fucking president, or just someone who wasn't like the first choice of like a Dobson or a Weyrich, they still got their people in the administration. Having structures like that would go such a long way for liberals. And the thing is, they know how to like execute power, but only like within the party. Yeah. And only when you like mention fucking Palestine. But yeah, no, I don't know why I'm fucking giving them advice. They know this.
You can't flood the market with like a million pod johns and expect the same level of results, because like a lot of what like the independent Republican media ecosystem does is directly funded by the exact same billionaires that also fund, the likes of Fox News and all these other outlets and institutions. There's constant cross-pollination. There's institutional legitimacy afforded to all of the content creators on the independent space from mainstream media. But most importantly, and this is something that I have repeated quite a bit, most importantly, there is a direct ideological similarity between a Ben Shapiro type and the Republican Party, because they're all on board with the same fucking agenda. The Republicans are afraid of their base. The Democrats run away from their base. The Democrats are disgusted by their base. So a person like myself is not being represented in the party's establishment regardless. Now, there are some more progressive figureheads within the Democratic Party that I align with, but even then, there's plenty more room for, the things that I believe in. There is no immediate ideological equivalent versus like Ben Shapiro is almost entirely aligned with the Republican Party down to every single point. So unless the Democratic Party changes its entire policy structure and moves away from third way neoliberalism, it's never going to be an equivalent. You're just going to flood the market with like a million Harry Hassans.
Yeah.
Which they have done. They've done that already.
Yeah. They have a ton of those people. And like, the thing is, for the Republican Party and their media structures, we talked about this before with how like Kamala Harris did not have like patter. She didn't have like signature issues or policies. The case put forward by like the Harry Hassan types, by like the shell that comprises liberal parallel media structures, is like, we're not the crazy guys. We're not this. We're America will survive if we win. There's nothing really to get excited about if you're a lib on the media side. And that, like, you could have the most charismatic guy in the fucking world. You could have like just a brilliant broadcaster, someone who has amazing stage or camera presence, someone who is magnetic. If all they have to talk about is like, oh, when the Senate's back in session, Chuck Schumer is passing the IHRA definition of anti-Semitism.
Yeah, no,
you're not going to get like there's nothing for them to talk about.
That's a big cultural victory for us. Love that. Please throw me in jail, Chuck Schumer. Like, I voted for Adam Schiff on fucking stream. You guys saw it. And I was like, this motherfucker is going to be responsible for the vote that like inevitably puts me in jail in the lame duck period when Chuck Schumer passes the fucking IHRA definition of anti-Semitism in a must-pass bill that is tied along with defense spending. Like, that's their priority. If that's your legislative priority, you are so far removed from the interests and needs of your fucking base. Like, we are diametrically opposite to one another.
Yeah, like a huge part of like contemporary conservative media, specifically people in the highest strata of online conservative media, was that in the eyes of their audiences, they would take on the party and they would win. Harry Hasan, he seems like a very nice like boy, but he's not doing that. He's not even taking on the party, much less winning.
Yeah.
None of them are
because
like
everyone is just parroting the party.
Yeah,
everyone is just parroting the position of the party. The closest equivalent you have with like internal support from the party is the Pod Johns.
It has all the messaging discipline of like the Cultural Revolution with just towards nothing, towards no actual goal. The Pod Johns, how fucking conciliatory and just spineless they sounded talking about Biden when they were trying to get him to drop out. It's not like,
and it turns out they had internal polling that showed that he was like getting wiped off the table with like 400 electoral college votes to Donald Trump.
I'm sorry, how do you not tell people that?
Yeah, you should save America, unironically, by fucking openly admitting that. Like, that would have been a saving America moment. If the moment that they saw that internal poll, they should have been like, this is utterly incomprehensible. Yeah. What the fuck are we doing?
I think people have, I think the way people conceive about this stuff is like very short-sighted, and it betrays like a lack of understanding about just media in general, divorced from politics. And there are a lot of reasons that like you can't create like a fucking left lib Andrew Tate. You can have incredibly successful liberal cultural and media figures and products, but it's never going to be one-to-one. Never going to create an exact liberal Tucker Carlson. But maybe you can create someone who like fulfills some of the important functions that like a prime Tucker Carlson did, which is like they attack the right enemies. You know, during the primary in 2020, someone who was at a one of the big streaming websites, I won't say who, was like trying to get me to ink a deal, like just me, an exclusive deal. And I would have done it if Bernie had won the nomination, only for the reason that like I felt like I could maybe fulfill that role as someone who can like attack his enemies in a way that like no one else, in a way that he certainly can't or wouldn't. But yeah, people just look at
That's what I said too. Like I would be the top fucking regime pilled propaganda minister if the Democratic Party was like, at the very least, presenting like OG Swedish style social democracy as its like genuine vision. Like, that's not directly aligned with my values, right? That's not completely what I want, but I know that is not only good for America in terms of the direction that we should be heading towards, but it's also certainly successful policy anyway.
That like, this is the problem though, is that the American liberals, when they are looking at media, they only see the form and not the function. They think that like all these things are what they are culturally because of their exact form. They see like, you know, Fresh and Fit having like 25 girls that they hate who they paid to be there.
Yeah.
And they're just screaming at them and they're like, oh, people must like this show because they're yelling at those women they hired. And not like the actual function of what any of these things are.
Yeah.
They don't like Tucker is, I think, like an incredibly talented like broadcaster, right? But his form is not really replicatable for a liberal Democrat. But the function could be. But again, you can't understand the function if your politics is you in your concept of politics. You really never think about like who your enemy is and who is important to have as an enemy.
Yeah. But like, I don't even fully agree with that because like I said, then the Podjons would be the dominant like force in this space because that is what they are. Like the Podjons is the closest equivalent to like a Daily Wire style, a Daily Wire style equivalent, like direct access to the party, constantly having party operatives on board. Like they don't shape policy, but at least like they're channeling the policy. And I think that I that still doesn't move the needle enough.
Well, yeah, no, that's the problem though, is because like they never take on the party. And like Rush Limbaugh didn't take on the party either. But like
but Rush Limbaugh was represented by the party. That's the point.
Right.
Like, to a certain degrry.
But so are these guys, just in the extent that they seem to fucking love everything that the party's doing. Like that is the main difference though, is they don't take on the party and they don't win doing it or appear as though they're winning doing it. And also just the fact that like there is really nothing to get excited for inside the party for its own sake.
Oh, they got the internal poll after Harris became the nominee and took over the campaign. No one knew about it before he dropped out, but Biden's inner circle. My mistake. Mea culpa. My bad.
Yeah, but still, it's like we all had like an idea of how shitty Biden was doing. With all that they know, I would wager to say that they at least knew quite a bit more than we did.
Yeah. And ultimately, no billionaire is going to fund someone whose overarching cause is the abolition of billionaires. Okay. Like that's not going to happen. You at most, you'll get like a billionaire with a pet project, right? For, I don't know, climate maybe, because they're in a competitive sector. Or maybe they're a billionaire that is in the green energy, like renewable energy space or something, right? But you're not going to have someone who's like, yeah, I want someone who's like unconditionally pro-labor, because you're not getting there unless you're like a labor billionaire, I guess.
Well, that is sort of like the spiral of devolution that happened with the destruction of the New Deal coalition, because there used to be a pretty reliable like Democratic donor base that was like, you know, maybe they didn't have like as many individual ultra wealthy guys as the Republican side, but they would have like, you know, individual groups of people like union lawyers or, you know, entertainers or people who, if not billionaires, there were enough of them who had enough like disposable income that it did create like a, you know, it did provide like a dependable cash flow. Ever since the funding of political parties has been so utterly focused on ultra wealthy individuals for both sides, that has been sort of a problem in just how Democrats run campaigns. Like, how can you it becomes harder and harder to run like an Obama 2012 style campaign when, you know, Tony West and like Mark Cuban are helping you run the fucking party.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I just don't see the signs I've seen from the Democratic Party, by the way, they're asking for money because they're 30 million in the hole.
Tony West really did run the campaign like fucking Uber.
Yeah. Like, where did the money go, man? The money went to all the ads talking about how much they love Liz Cheney. What a fucking disastrous run.
Has David Shore said anything?
Nah, he's probably in a fucking K-hole right now. Yeah.
David Shore was probably listening to the same like Psytrance playlist we were listening to.
Yeah. It's just like, for others who may be looking for something meaningful and important, channeling emotions, if that's you, then we're asking you to make a donation to the Democratic Party today.
Meaningful. Pay off our debt from our shitty campaign. Every time that I think they couldn't possibly show more contempt, they surprise me. They surprised me even more.
Donald Trump fucking slam dunk, by the way. I'm very surprised at the Democrats who fought a hard and valiant fight in the 2020 presidential election, raising a record amount of money, didn't have lots of money left over. Now they're being squeezed by vendors and others, something he knows personally.
Oh, yeah.
He knows exactly what that's like.
Yep.
Whatever we can do to help them during this difficult period, I would strongly recommend we, as a party, and for the sake of desperately needed unity, do. We have a lot of money left over, and our biggest asset in the campaign was earned media, and that doesn't cost very much.
He's such a prick.
What
That's
a
so
flex.
funny that he's doing the thing where like 50 Cent would like buy all the tickets to a Ja Rule show.
Someone said they spent 6 figures on the Caller Daddy set.
Oh,
Building a set for Harris's appearance on the popular Caller Daddy podcast with host Alex Cooper. The interview came out in October and was reportedly filmed in a hotel room in Washington, D.C.
that's what they spent 600,000.
They got 800,000 views on that, by the way. Bradley Martin I was having a conversation with him after because he's pro-Trump. And he was like, look at this. And he pulled up Caller Daddy, 800,000 views. And then he was like, look at this. Joe Rogan, Donald Trump interview, 46 million
I didn't
votes.
know it only did 800. That's a brick.
Yeah, at the time,
That's a fucking brick.
At the time, people were telling me, like, you don't understand. This is a valuable constituency that she normally wouldn't appear in front of. And Semaphore's very own media guy, what is his name? Max Tani or whatever.
Yeah.
He kept reiterating that, like, you're wrong. And that Kamala Harris campaign did do a lot of, like, podcast outreach. They went to a lot of successful podcasts. No, they didn't. Joe Biden went on Complex, okay? That is not like a successful organic podcast. That's just media, but on YouTube.
Do you remember when Joe Biden went on Complex in 2020 and was like, he ended the interview by going, and by the way, I don't consider drunk driving a felony.
Wait, what? You mean Joe Budden or Joe Biden?
Joe Biden. When you said Complex, it was drunk driving.
There is no way.
No, I swear.
What? Oh.
You have to see the video.
Wait.
There we go.
You only arrest for the purpose of dealing with a felony that's committed, and I don't count drunk driving as a felony.
My goat.
Oh,
that's why he won.
goat.
That's why he won. Bro, he's swept. He swept the Midwest with that one, dude.
There was no chance. There was going to be a crack in the blue wall after that.
Yeah, if Ohio had access to internet, they would have voted for him too. Okay, Ohio, the Poland of America.
This was so good because after he goes at, the hosts are just like shocked. They don't know what to say at all.
That's amazing.
Yeah. This was such a fun campaign. Back when Big Joe was running things.
Reminder, Alex Cooper got paid $125 million. I know. That's like look, this makes sense, even though it's like an insane figure, because that's just how media works. They're like, oh, podcasts are the big thing. Let's give her $1 billion, right? This is the female equivalent to Joe Rogan. It doesn't matter if she's not putting up Joe Rogan numbers. It doesn't matter at all, right? Because the media has a lot of fucking money, and that's the reason why they're going to burn it, right? But the campaign shouldn't be spending money like that.
Yeah. Spending 6 figures to make a fucking set that looks exactly the same as every other fucking set in the world.
Yeah.
The main thing you need to understand about media is that all media is sort of like capital is allocated based on comps. And by comps, I mean, in this, like when they say, oh, call her daddy is like Joe Rogan for women. These are the only terms that media executives, those who dictate the flow of capital, these are the only terms that animate them.
This is what we spend all of our money on. I'm sorry.
This was so insulting.
We got nothing left in the.
So insulting.
We got nothing left in the budget, guys.
Hello, ladies on train.
This is the reason why the polls were showing that black men were voting like by insane margins for Trump at the time, which didn't even happen. But like it didn't stop the media from being insanely racist for no reason.
Or sending Obama out there to call them misogynist. I would be so fucking pissed if I were a black male who voted Democrat, because it's like the single most reliable group of male voters, bar none.
Yes.
Bar none. But B, like, your attempts to retain me are, we're going to protect your crypto wallet, and then like this.
Yeah.
Like this is,
And that
this
was
is
only
so
after.
Boondocks.
No, that was only after they fucking were like, oh, we have to give them something. Weed legalization for, or what was it? Like weed decriminalization, weed legalization, which by the way, they also did that at the last step for not just as like black outreach, but that didn't even get any fucking play at all.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. That used to be the meta. That used to be the meme. Like, oh, just legalize weed and every state will go for you, was like the old adage. Yeah. And now even that has no motion. God damn.
This was so fucking like, this is like literally treating black voters like children.
Yeah.
Like, it's like going, hey, remember the video? You remember the pattern, right?
Let's see what.
And how much do you make?
I work in finance, making 6 figures.
How tall are you?
6'5".
Do you have any plans to vote in November?
Nah, not my thing.
That's
like a bunch of
I
like
would never vote again.
a bunch of white like the former BuzzFeed marketing guys sat together and were like, we need to make an urban style video.
Yeah.
That resembles what black people like.
Yeah.
What do they watch on YouTube? They watch that balloon popping show.
That is so fucking insulting.
Yeah, price point for that $750,000. Cha-ching.
That set cost $20 million.
Yeah. Damn, that ad ate.
Have y'all gone to Kamala Harris's policy page? It's fat.
Amazing.
This is why I like putting all this in perspective. Why I do think it's important to like take stock if you're a Democrat, because everything I've seen, this is a campaign that like deserved to lose by like 10 points.
Oh, but,
it's like actually amazing.
Wait, going back to the Maccabee Tel Aviv thing, they did okay. I'm sorry. People are going to get mad at me for saying this, but like, I have this theory that a lot of, not all, but some Israeli tourists operate like they think they're in the West Bank wherever they go. And there is perhaps no greater example than this. And this is precisely the example that I've used in the past when I say, if you see a Star of David outside of a door normally in anywhere in the Western world, that like an anti-Semitic hate crime is probably about to take place, except for in the West Bank, where a settler will mark your house with a Star of David so that you leave the house before they throw Molotov cocktails at it. This is a 1-to-1. They went over to the Jewish quarter of the city and spray painted the Star of David like they're in fucking Hebron. That's insane.
Yeah, no, the average, like, we like to say on the show that culture is downstream from politics. When the entire politics of Israel is geared towards like expansionism, when settlers set the tone for everything, everyone behaves like a West Bank settler. Everyone behaves like the Hilltop Youth.
Yeah. But I'm sorry.
Oh my God.
Said Big Dog, we gotta recalibrate. Mia Khalifa interview, 3.8 million views. Vice President Kamala Harris, 800,000 views.
Oh.
Damn. It's done. It's fucking done, dude. We gotta run Mia Khalifa.
Yeah.
We gotta run Mia Khalifa for president.
Well, she's like a centrist choice because she has a Katyeb tattoo.
Oh,
but
yeah.
she's now against Israel.
That's true. That's true.
I don't blame her for that. I don't get mad at her for the Katyeb tattoo. I know it's not like my thing to forgive her. Don't get me wrong. But I forgive anyone for anything that they did when they were like 18. I think it's mean to hold things like that against people, you know?
She covered it up. She's
She's not a Katyeb anymore.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Israeli supporters of the football club Maccabi Haifa are seen attempting to burn the flags of Palestine and Netherlands while chanting, Gaza is a cemetery at Teddy Stadium in Jerusalem. Come on, dude. You're going to be...
Sorry.
I'm
sorry.
Nope, you said that. It's over. There's going to be...
Over.
I found out the other day that he has apparently posted on his Instagram stories every single day, numerous times, about me, like various clips from the stream. and it was shocking. I did not know that that was what was going on. And since then, you know, I referred to it one time when he said Defense Minister Yoav Gallant is a good guy, and then apologized for it and said, my bad, me and my wife do not know anything about politics. We just kind of loosely pay attention. And he is a moderating voice in the war cabinet.
Yeah.
That's what he said. So he apologized. He said, mea culpa, my bad. And I think people were telling me that he then spent the rest of the video talking about how I love Hezbollah. Which, by the way, once again, okay, you know, get mad at me all day. You know, numbers on the board. Hezbollah more restrained than the tit for tat back and forth missile lobbing campaigns. Last time I checked, that did not eliminate entire fucking city blocks in Tel Aviv in the same way that Israel did in Beirut. So
maybe.
And they have fiber internet, which is something that I will never get over because I do not.
Move to New York.
Yeah.
I'm going to make everyone who's still here move to New York with me.
Yeah.
Do you know how easy it is to get fiber in Manhattan?
Really?
Yeah.
I've thought about it, but like my whole life is here. You know what I mean?
I know.
My whole life is here, and I do love LA so much.
I am going to like, there are aspects I am going to miss. Like I wouldn't,
like getting good Armenian food.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. No, like there are like this place is like beautiful in a way that like New York just is not. Even though there are like aspects of New York that I also think are irreplicable. Like the experience of like walking, like Manhattan walking. This sounds so fucking stupid, but it's true. When I have a day where it's like, okay, I need to like get a screwdriver and like get some keys copied, and I need a non-standard soda, and I take like a like 6 mile walk up and down like Upper Manhattan.
Yeah,
that's so fun in a way that like here when I have to walk like half a mile here, it is the most annoying fucking experience on earth.
No, you can't do that. Yeah,
it sucks.
You have to walk on like the highway.
Yeah, it's. I feel like it turns me into one of those guys who I would make fun of in Illinois who walks on the shoulder of the highway.
Yeah,
but it like not just like the beauty, but like I like the aspect of like when you go to hang out with people here, you like go to like you go to like a house. I think that's cool. I would rather go to like a house or like a beer garden type thing than like a narrow ass New York bar.
Yeah.
So it's, yeah.
I feel like you sweat more in New York. You know what I mean? Like, because it's cold outside and then it's warm indoors and you can take the jacket off. Like, I don't know why. Like, a lot of my experience of like being in New York is just like there's too much sweating.
I have the opposite thing.
It's humid.
I have the opposite thing. I like sweat way more here for whatever reason.
This is a dry heat out here.
Yeah,
I never sweat out here. I love it.
I sweat so much here and not in New York, but like I'll be here like a lot regardless. I do.
It's because you're fat. Shut the fuck up, chatter. Fucking 200 and motherfucking 25 pounds, bitch.
Incredibly lean.
This is not the leanest I've been, but I'm close. I'm like super close to the leanest I've ever been. What's the sweat ratio? I don't know. It's high. But dude, why are they burning the Netherlands flag?
It's like
they went back home to do the same thing.
Did they like bring a Netherlands flag in their life? You have to be so fucked up to be like a dentist and be like, "Yep, I'm like them."
So stupid. Like
It's like when Ben Shapiro pretends that he hates medicine. It's the same thing. It's like you're not like that.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Come on.
He's just trying to be like the cool kids, like fucking RFK Jr. Okay.
Yeah.
The last thing I want to show you from the Maccabee saga, okay? The Maccabee saga is this like 15-year-old Dutch journalist who apparently is like a center-right journalist in the Netherlands. Or I mean, I don't know how I feel about this. When someone says they're center-right in like, Amsterdam, like,
Yeah.
like what level of anti-Semitism are we working with here? That's what people were saying. But they're burning the Netherlands flag because of the ICC, The Hague. But yeah, he's far right.
Nou, dames en heren, achter mij is de wedstrijd nog volop aan de gang. Tel Aviv krijgt een pakje slaag.
This language, bro.
It's fine.
This language, bro.
Toch doet dat de sfeer niet ten goede. Ik ben benieuwd wat er gebeurt als ze nou eigenlijk naar buiten komen. Dus laten we een kijkje nemen. Wat een leuke, gezellige mensen.
Is this Dutch drill?
Ik blijf springen uitgekookt. Amsterdammer tot de dood. Happy zomaar
hard.
In een paar leppe hooligans en die mannen maken geen jokes.
De wedstrijd is afgelopen. Ajax heeft gewonnen.
You know his racist ass loves the fucking, like, refugee drill music that he's playing on his fucking...
Oh my God, yeah.
Because that is not a white guy that came up with that song. Let me tell you, okay?
No.
I don't know anything about fucking... I don't know anything about anything, okay? About the politics of this language that seems made up. I don't really understand it. But I can tell that it's not a white person singing that song, okay?
En kom naar buiten gestormd. Het is afwachten wat de Joden. We lopen.
Okay, I very quickly
give you guys that one.
I very quickly now understand what level of anti-Semitism this young child is running on. Wait, actually, did he say Ajax is the Jewish team?
Kom naar buiten
is.
gestormd. Het is afwachten wat gaat de Joden.
Oh, never mind. Yeah, no. Ajax hooligans call themselves not Jews, super Jews, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's why it was the supporters that were saying
that's
it.
not so bad.
Never mind. I got scared for a second.
Oh, yeah. I was about to say.
Ajax is the Dutch team. No, I know, dude. It's the Dutch team in the fucking historic Jewish quarter of the town, which is why the team, the fans of the team call themselves the Jews.
That's cute.
Yeah. Or I think the super Jews or something, right? How do you say Jewish in Turkish? Yehudi. Which immediately sounds like a slur when you say it like
yeah.
But
they do that to Palestinians all the time because they think like if you just hear someone say like Yehudi, it's kind of like the same in a lot of languages.
Yeah.
Like it does sound bad. It's like that 30 Rock joke where Selma Hayek goes, I'm Puerto Rican, and Alec Baldwin goes, don't call yourself that. And she's like, what? No, I am Puerto Rican. And he's like, oh, it just sounds like so pejorative.
Yeah.
We lopen nu richting de Belmer Arena. En je merkt dat er wat jongeren over straat lopen. Die nogal onrustig tegen de politie doen. Dus ja, maar volgens mij, het is weer, ze schelden ze gewoon uit en dan rennen ze weer weg. Inmiddels wordt iedereen die onrustig is gewoon...
His voice is crazy, bro. This kid is Dutch Kuno, yeah. Kuno doesn't care. Kuno doesn't fucking care.
Don't you think he's using he's like modifying his voice in editing?
No, I think he's 12, I think.
Weer weggestuurd. Stad verloopt rustig. Maar we gaan verder zoeken op Centraal Station. Kijk, alle sporen zijn verschillend afgezet. Zodat je dus niet elkaar tegenkomt als je niet op hetzelfde spoor. Minder ruzie. Alles voorkomen. En bij de NS staat gewoon een hond. Gewoon om even af te schrikken. In de metro zit de sfeer
Oh, he's got a fuck the police slant going. I like this. I like it.
Is this like a famous 12-year-old in the Netherlands?
I mean, I feel like when you're in the Netherlands, like you don't have that many content creators. So like if you're like anyway, like if you're even a little bit famous, like everybody knows you.
Yeah. It's like how many people live in the Netherlands? Like what, like 6 million, 7 million people?
I don't fucking know.
It's like being the host of Chapo in Brooklyn.
Damn, it was saying 17 million.
Damn.
That's still a lot of people. That's surprising.
Gelukkig wel in. Nu nog kijken tot op Centraal Station.
I see why this kid's so popular. This is very fun.
This is giving mixed signals to people who are uninitiated about the background of the team.
Yeah.
It almost, once again, I'm going to repeat. These are the fans of Ajax, which is known as the Jewish team, but also referred to as the Jewish team pejoratively by other soccer hooligans, but also referred to in a loving manner by the soccer hooligans who are fans of Ajax. I know nothing about soccer. This shit's wild. Ajax, sorry. Chat, this is why I was trying to explain to you, like, just understand automatically that outside of like 8 total clubs and fandoms, most of the soccer hooligans don't have the best politics, okay? That's all I'm saying. And if you think it's like Bill's Mafia, like, no, it's even fucking worse than that, okay? The average soccer hooligan in like Italy, and I keep repeating this over and over again, will throw bananas at their own black players, okay? At their own players. So...
Of toch niet? Oh, we zijn net op Centraal en je merkt al eigenlijk dat de sfeer... Er worden vuurwerkbommetjes afgestoken en ze zijn nu aan het rennen en aan het schreeuwen. Ik weet niet wat er... Nee, ik weet niet wat er precies gebeurt. Het is wel een flinke stoet. Oh, ze zijn palen uit de grond aan het jatten. Ontgejat. Ik denk om zichzelf te weren van mensen die ze lastigvallen. Oh, ze doen nu allemaal maskers op.
Oh, now they're putting on masks. Like...
Ik weet niet precies. Het is nogal...
I wonder why they would be doing that. I guess the Maccabi fans have a right to defend themselves. Is that what's going on?
I'm reminded of Metal Gear Solid 3, where they tell Snake that it's a procurement mission. Everything that he's going to use in the mission, he's just got to find on site.
Yeah.
That's what they told the Maccabi supporters.
Een heel gespannen sfeertje. Oké. Ja, politie.
Distressed Asian tourists.
Ze gaan achter mensen aan.
That's one weird thing. I guess this is more like an English thing. How like
no, they do it all around Europe. Everyone's Asian.
Yeah, and it's like technically they're right. Like
Yes.
Asia is like an enormous continent that encompasses like, you know.
Dude, remember when American racists were like, "Oh, they're doing it to hide the crimes of the Pakistani population," and it's like, no, that's just like how they refer to.
Yeah, like that is the best like American centric bullshit where it's like, oh, you think you can trick us?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, dude. Asian crimes are on the rise. Like, we know what you mean by that. And they were like, they thought that like England had changed the designation to like Asian, like the racial designation to Asian of like Pakistanis, specifically, or like Middle Easterners, specifically to hide like to hide the crimes of like South Asian gangs or whatever the fuck they were trying to claim.
It from who? Like to hide it from Americans.
Yeah, to hide it from Americans.
Yeah. If we find out the real race, and then we're gonna elect Donald Trump in England.
Yeah, that was really funny.
Poh, oké, het loopt helemaal uit de hand. Oh, palen naar de politieauto. Zo. Ze zijn een beetje uit elkaar. Taxichauffeur reed ook expres doorheen. Ze hadden van die bouwvakkerspalen uit de grond gehaald. En die op andere mensen gegooid en op die politie.
Well, that goes against the narrative that I was seeing on mainstream news. What? Oh well. They do have a right to defend themselves against police vans, to be fair.
We zijn weer eens, zoals altijd, de enige media die er is. Politie vlucht hem een soort van, of rijdt. Hij keert terug, alleen hij is in zijn eentje. Je hebt wel... De groep is hier. Hij heeft duidelijk meer versterking nodig, want dit gaat anders niks worden.
English, but like funny.
Guttural.
Yeah. Groep hier.
Er staan 2 busjes. Het politiesignaal is uit. Het leek op een vechtpartij met mensen die tegen ze zijn. Het lijkt erop alsof ze misschien in dit hotel verblijven. Alleen ze trekken de stad in. En ze lijken niet bang. Ze schreeuwen veel. Ik versta het niet. Dus als je het kan vertalen in de...
my news report on soccer. It's like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. They're woke. It's like it's like those Japanese babies that do chores.
Yeah.
In the Netherlands, they have this program where they're just like, here, okay, baby, go out and do news reporting.
That is something I think about. Like, I feel like it's like sort of overblown, like the high trust and low trust society thing. But like, it is interesting in countries that aren't like as much of like a terrifying free for all
as America.
Like, that you can like you your kid can like walk around at like pretty late at night and you have a reasonable expectation they won't be like run over or shot, you know?
In the comments. Sir, what's happening?
I don't know.
You don't know?
No.
You went to the game?
Yeah.
What do you think is gonna happen? Because yesterday they destroyed some things in Amsterdam.
I just stay away to don't involve the violence.
Okay. So you're not a hooligan?
No, I just struck an eyelash.
Okay. Okay. Enjoy your night.
Thank you very
Thank you very much. Ze trekken nu echt het centrum in. Dus ik ben benieuwd wat hiervan. Het is niet gezellig uit. Ze hebben ook nog maar twee busjes. Het lijkt er echt op alsof de politie eigenlijk...
It's crazy that like when the Maccabi Tel Aviv hooligans are fucking roaming the streets, like ripping Palestinian flags off and shit, there's only 2 police vans. But God forbid you do a pro-Palestine rally in the city center where they will like bulldoze your fucking encampment. Very sick stuff. Very cool that they're just like, oh, a violent paramilitary of ultra-nationalists roaming the fucking streets. It's fine.
It is insane.
It would be anti-Semitic not to do, you know, the normal police work in this, to do normal police work in this situation.
Niks doet. Niet eens, dus niet eens een waarschuwing, ze rijden gewoon mee. En ja, dan ja, op een gegeven moment dan gaat er wat kapot en dan kunnen ze nog niks doen. Maar misschien rijden ze mee in de hoop dat er meer versterking is. Volgens mij, al die taxis, dat was dus gisteravond ook, die zijn niet zo blij met de actie. Dus die zijn nu met z'n allen aan het toeteren en dan hoogstwaarschijnlijk komt daar weer ruzie van. Zoals je kan horen.
This is adorable, but he's also like a very...
Oh, ze jatten allemaal pallets uit elkaar. Ze lopen nu met houten planken.
Paolo Oliveira should be ashamed. Like,
Ze lopen gewoon met wapens.
So much better. He's so much more likable.
Er rijden trouwens 3 trams gewoon bijna tegen elkaar aan. Misschien is het wel een soort muur. We komen van 2 kanten. We komen van 2 kanten. De conflicten komen nu.
Zo dan.
Okay.
Zo dan. Kom je bijdraaien?
No offense as an American, but it's so weird to me seeing like how animating soccer is, because every fucking time I've watched it, I've watched the World Cup like in Spain. I was watching Argentina versus Germany or whoever the fuck they were playing in 2014. And I was so bored. Like, it is so boring. I don't understand. But it inspires so much, like, so much just anger and passion. And I get being a fan of it, even though it's not for me. I don't get how you're like, I like this. This game is so exciting. I'm going to join like a club of people who like beat up other people. My life is going to be traveling from country to country, beating up people who also watch fucking soccer. Maybe, I don't know. I don't understand it.
I disavow everything that Felix Biederman said on this broadcast.
No, these opinions are only my own. These are only my opinions.
I would never disrespect the great sport of football.
I don't.
Thank God I wasn't here when he was saying those things. I'm about to get fucking
ze hebben
Omega Dag.
2 groepen. 1 groep kwam vanaf daar. Zijn ze met z'n allen daarheen geropen. Nu wordt er met vuurwerk gegooid.
Neem is Timmy Poel Schroeder.
Je merkt wel, ze zijn nog niet klaar. Dit gaat nog wel even door. Zo, ik moest ook net stoppen met filmen. Ze zeiden, voor je eigen veiligheid zet nu je mic uit. Maar ze zijn niet blij.
Garanteer geladen persoon uit de stad komt op een afgestroomd. Did I do it right? Maccabi hooligan, put away the camera.
Maar ze zijn niet blij.
Then stop. Then stop. Dude, you are not in Hebron. You are not in the West Bank. What the fuck are you saying? Stop. That's like, what are you? He's just like terrorizing a child with a camera, dude. I don't think he understands. This kid, okay, is not only a child, but also a media child, a member of the media and a child. That's like, I mean, that's catnip, baby. You don't understand the situation you've put yourself in, okay? That's double jeopardy. That's a double.
Dat ga ik niet doen. Maar ik vond dit best wel spannend. Zo heb ik ze ook nog niet vaak gehad. Ja, en dat ook. Er is geen politie om niemand te beschermen. Niemand, 1 busje. Waar zijn die paarden? Er stonden net tientallen paarden op de arena, dus niks. 1 bus. Dit loopt uit de hand. Het is een soort, ze doen weer hittraining. Ze doen 30 seconden keihard rennen en dan gewoon weer voor 3 minuten rust.
They're running really hard for 30 seconds and then take a 3-minute rest. Oh my God, he said he's a high intensity interval training.
Meer politie. We lopen er nu recht achter. Oké, ze sluiten hun in. Ze worden een soort van ingesloten, zodat we niet de dam op kunnen. Maar we zitten in principe nu wel echt in het centrum. Dus we staan weer op stilstand. Ik denk dat ze daarheen gaan. Ik vind, het ziet er levensgevaarlijk uit. Ze staan met ijzeren pijpen, stokken. Alle harde dingen die op knuppels lijken hebben ze op straat gevonden. Lopen ze.
I have to show you the funniest thing of all time. Have you seen this? I really hope you haven't seen this and this is the first time you're seeing it. This is the new UN ambassador.
Danny Dannon?
Yeah.
שבו מוצגת תערוכה של ציורי ילדים שאמורה לעסוק בשלום עולמי. בואו תראו במה באמת התערוכה הזאת עוסקת. קחו לדוגמה את הציור הזה, שבו מדינת ישראל לא קיימת. ועוד ציורים שבהם מדברים על פרי פלסטיין ודברים אחרים. אין פה אפילו מילה, אין נתנהלים. אנחנו ניאבק בצביעות של האום ונדרוש שהתערוכה הזאת תרד מהקיר הזה.
What the fuck? It's a children's drawing. And they took it down, Felix. The UN responded by taking down the child's drawing quilt.
How do you, not get laughed out of the UN? This is what I mean about, the devolution of everything and everyone being dumber now. I feel like if you did this in, 1992, you would be, laughed out of the building. Pro-Israel buzz or not, this would just be seen as so fucking ridiculous.
And I think the media literally covered it as UN forced to take down anti-Semitic painting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. My favorite little thing is when the pro-Palestinian children are like, Golan Heights can be Palestine too. You see the little tip. They're they give them the extra land. Oh my God. It's fantastic stuff overall. Yeah, they're just they're child free. They're Reddit r/child free. Okay. Israel's the most r/child free country out there. Oh fuck. Nah, they've made a point that children have not condemned Hamas. There's